Welcome back. Okay, I had done quite a bit to get started on getting the Jeep ready for upcoming trip for Fort Ice and for Rubicon, and I have a video that I was going to make about the changes, and it'll get made. But one of my good friends, Nick, who I've been wheeling with for quite a bit, is in most of my videos now, pointed out that he ran into an issue with his cross member. And we're both running the Artec 3-link up front with the HD cross member, where those links, the lower links, integrate into that HD cross member. Okay. So I got to put out a PSA on it because I don't think most people check everything. I know I wouldn't have if he hadn't said something, but let me show you something here. So this is my passenger side cross member. As you can see, I've removed the cross member. It's not because I'm not going to use it, but I have to do some repairs. You can see I've removed some paint and different things like that. But if I can get close enough, let's see if I can get like, you can see, it's too big. But you can see the crack right there on the weld. And this one isn't so bad. The driver's side one isn't so bad either. But I'll go ahead and add a picture of Nick's right here. And as you can see, these things get cracked pretty easily. Has a lot to do with, I think, you put the heavy cross member in here, you got these link mounts, and these things are constantly tweaking, which is going to take this and try to rotate this back and forth, right? Which the factory did not do a good job on those welds. And you can see that there's not a whole lot of penetration into this, because it's cracking right at where the metal is melted in here. So I've removed paint. I'm going to go ahead and probably take a little cutting wheel and notch in a little bit here. And then I'm going to throw a bead of weld here. I'm going to put some right here on the bottom because it kind of allows it to tear. So if I go ahead and put a bead here, it'll stop that. And then from the factory, they don't do a whole lot for the inside. So it's just wide open, right? So you just have this outside here, so you have all this leverage to move around. So I'm going to throw a short bead, probably a 1-inch here, because really I'm just trying to stop the lower. And then on this side. And then my plan to stiffen this up even more is I'm probably going to take like a 1-inch piece of 1/8, run it in between here, wedge it in between, weld it up to here, and then I'll drop some beads here, here, and along the bottom. And so that way, hopefully, it stops this from wiggling back and forth here at the bottom. Now, Nick's also cracked on the bolt holes. Crazy thing is, I haven't seen anybody come out with stock cross member stiffeners. Some of the 3-link kits out there replace the cross member and also replace these, but they're mostly the flat belly ones. The ones that don't replace these, instead of using like a weld-in 3-link, it bolts to this, and then it helps stiffen this because the 3-link member is bolted to the frame. And on the driver's side, they have one that bolts to it and goes to here. Now, unfortunately, the company that does that, they make them to order, and they don't have any for sale individually, and I don't think they really want to. I mean, obviously, you want to sell your whole kit. Maybe liability reasons, maybe a lot of stuff. But I just wanted to point it out. If you have a 3-link where your cross member is holding onto your lower links, check your cross member mounts to the frame. I'll go ahead and get these fixed up and show you what I do. Well, I'm exhausted, but I'm done. So I went to go ahead and think about throwing in there, but what had happened was is when I was welding on the inside, it kind of took up the space that I'd be doing for that. So I'm going to see, by welding the outside a little better, the under, and then up about 1 inch, how well that does. So I didn't have to weld any of the outside edge of that. I just welded the bottom and the inside to see if the double weld does much. This sucked, though. I didn't do a good job at all. I covered it up with paint and stuff so you guys couldn't really see, but I had my settings all jacked up, and for whatever reason, my air mix was like too low, and I was on the ground underneath welding overhead again. So I got my driver's side done, And then my passenger side, got that all done up. So we're going to go ahead and run this for this trip and see what happens. If it continues to crack, then obviously I have to find a more permanent solution. It was frustrating to have to deal with this out of nowhere, but now at least I can plan ahead and potentially do it better or right next time. So if I have to, I'll go ahead and go with like a Gen Right flat belly. I'd rather do that than constantly be re-welding up cracked control arm brackets. So just as a heads up, give it a look if you have one of these.